Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever found yourself just surprisingly mesmerized by those colorful, super satisfying clips popping up on your feed at 2 a.m., hey, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're taking a fascinating sensory journey to discover the hidden science of visual cues. We're going to look at exactly how our visual world interacts with our sense of hearing to create that profound sense of calm. Okay, let's dive into this. The big question we're tackling today is simple, but honestly, it's so intriguing. Why exactly do bright props make some ASMR videos so much easier to watch? I mean, we see it all the time, right? Neon sands, vibrant little toys, highly saturated objects. But as you'll see, this isn't just an aesthetic choice. It is actually a highly effective way of communicating with an exhausted nervous system. We are going to explore the mystery of why something as simple as a pop of color can profoundly reduce our mental fatigue.
Picture this setup: a bright pink cutting board, a yellow toy fruit resting gently right on top, and, say, a green container waiting off to the side. Now notice how your mind processes that scene. Literally before a single sound happens, before a knife even taps the board or a lid clicks open, your eyes have already figured out the entire situation. You know exactly what objects are present and where the action is going to happen. Your brain has established a perfectly organized, safe environment, and it's all thanks to these clear, distinct pops of color preparing you for the real object sounds to come.
So what's happening here is that color gives your brain a map. It literally tells your attention exactly where to rest, what object matters the most, and what moment might happen next. It's kind of like a giant puzzle that solves itself. This visual map is this quiet, unsung power in real sound ASMR. When the image prepares you for the sound, it significantly lowers your cognitive effort. You aren't frantically searching a messy frame trying to figure out what's going on. The scene explains itself, and because your brain isn't working overtime to decode it, you can instantly begin to relax.
And this brilliantly illustrates the point. Just imagine a white object sitting on a white table. Sure, it looks cool and minimalist, but it actually requires real effort from your eyes to distinguish the shapes. The edges kind of blur together, right? But then look at the second item, a bright red toy apple sitting on a light-colored board. The edges are totally obvious. The shape is undeniable. Any movement of that apple is going to be incredibly easy to follow. This high visual contrast greatly reduces the mental work for tired viewers who are just trying to unwind after a long day.
Section 1. The brain craves predictability.
This all really comes down to a fascinating neuroscience concept called predictive processing. This was outlined by Carl Friston back in 2010. Essentially, think of your brain as a prediction machine. It's constantly comparing the sensory input it expects to receive with the actual sensory evidence it's getting in the moment. So if you see a bright toy orange sitting directly underneath a plastic knife, your brain forms a very simple immediate expectation. The knife will press down, the orange will split, and a crisp, specific sound will happen.
Which brings us to this really beautiful, rhythmic four-step cycle that happens in literally milliseconds. Step 1, you see the bright object. Step 2, you predict the action. Step 3, you hear the real object sound exactly when you expect it to. And Step 4, you resolve the prediction. Color helps this whole prediction process happen so much sooner. By making the object stand out, it takes what could be a complex, overwhelming sensory sequence and turns it into a soft, calming, and entirely predictable structure.
But, we do have to remember that color isn't just magic all on its own. Research by Elliot and Maier points out that colors don't actually possess universal hardwired meanings. It's the context that shapes the color. For example, a bright red toy fruit on a calm wooden table. That can feel incredibly playful and inviting. But a flashing red screen in a dark room? Yeah, that feels stressful and alarming. Blue can feel delightfully clean in a gentle sorting task, but deeply sad or clinical in a different setting. So the goal isn't to chase one universal, perfect color. The goal is to use clear colors within a safe context to make the entire scene perfectly readable.
Section 2. What the science says.
Mapping out the academic timeline here reveals something absolutely fascinating. Back in 2015, researchers Barratt and Davis found that viewers predominantly use ASMR for relaxation, sleep, and mood support. Fast forward to 2018, and Poerio and colleagues proved that this isn't just all in our heads. ASMR responders actually showed physically reduced heart rates and improved affect. And then Fredborg's team highlighted that this is deeply linked to individual sensory sensitivity. Now, while these studies don't classify ASMR as a medical treatment, They neutrally and clearly validate that it induces genuine physical relaxation for a lot of people. And it does this precisely by making the experience feel safer, more controlled, and totally predictable.
When you combine that scientific predictability with bright props, well, something kind of magical happens to the audio. Bright props actually make small sounds feel so much more important, basically by acting as the answer to a visual question. Think about a tiny, really delicate click or tap. In a visually messy, cluttered scene, that little sound just gets lost in all the noise. But when you're completely focused on, say, one bright blue spoon moving toward a vibrant yellow bowl, that tiny click becomes profoundly satisfying. The bright color cue sets up the expectation, and the real object sound is the perfect, satisfying answer.
It creates this really delicate, perfect balance. You get curiosity without alarm and novelty without any pressure. Engaging visuals meet distinct, real sounds without any harshness or visual clutter. And this balance is absolutely crucial because it ensures that any sudden reveals or changes feel completely harmless. It allows you to stay fully engaged and curious without your nervous system ever feeling the need to brace for a scare.
Section 3. Safe relaxation and real sound.
So the real takeaway here is how you actually engage with these clips. Let's go over some best practices for safe ASMR relaxation guidance using real object sounds. First off, always use a comfortable screen brightness. Please don't blast your eyes with blue light right before bed. Second, make sure to lower the volume on your device before you even hit play, just to protect your ears from any unexpected spikes. Third, and I can't stress this enough, stop watching if the colors or the real object sounds start to feel irritating. Remember, your nervous system is the ultimate boss. It decides what is actually relaxing to you on any given day. And finally, always recognize ASMR as a wonderful, complementary relaxation aid, not professional medical care.
Because really, it all boils down to this thought right here. The best ASMR color cue is not the brightest prop, it is the clearest prop. It's not about overwhelming your senses with neon, it's about absolute visual clarity. Clarity is what ultimately gives your brain that simple, effortless pattern to follow. See the object, predict the action, hear the sound, resolve the moment. When clarity is present, your attention finally gets permission to just settle.
So, what does this all mean for you? Well, I want to leave you with this question. Which color helps you relax most in ASMR videos? Next time you find yourself unwinding to some real object sounds, really pay attention to the colors guiding your brain to rest. You might just discover the exact shade of your own relaxation. Thank you so much for joining me to explore the incredibly colorful, satisfying science of relaxation today in this explainer. Keep paying attention to those quiet cues and enjoy finding the sights and sounds that help you rest best.